Birds of Prey. So before I get to the bad stuff about this movie, let's talk about the good. Margot Robbie plays an amazing Harley Quinn and is hands down the best part of this movie. The action in this movie was really fun and flashy, but that's to be expected by the stunt team 8711. Also, all the action scenes were directed by Chad Stahelski, if I'm saying his name right. He also directed all the action in the John Wick movies. Also, the cinematography in this movie was really good, thanks to Matthew L. I don't know how to pronounce his last name, so I'm not going to butcher it. But that's all I pretty much liked about this movie. Harley Quinn, the action was really fun and awesome, and the overall look of the film. Okay, now for the bad. Everything they should have fixed. First, let me get this out of the way. Rich D'Elia should not be in charge of casting any more superhero movies. He clearly has no idea what any of these characters look like, and he's not thinking of the longevity of the DC franchise. Second, Christina Hudson should not be allowed to write another comic book movie ever. Even though on her IMDb it does say she's working on The Flash and Batgirl, which makes me super nervous. The fact that it shows in this movie that she knows little about these characters and their backgrounds proves that she should not be writing these kind of movies. The plot in this movie is super basic, and normally I don't care if the characters are fun, but other than Harley Quinn, I could care less about any of these characters in the movie. You can make a fun, over-the-top action movie like Thor Ragnarok and have good characters, which most of the characters in that movie are good. But this movie is just all substance with just Harley to back it up. So let's start with the characters. So, two characters that were mentioned but never shown, Joker and Batman. I feel like the fact that we're in between Batman and Jokers, because DC doesn't know how to make films and they keep on messing with their actors and their storyline. Also, for whatever reason, they do not want to bring Jared Leto's Joker back, even though it's not his fault that a lot of people don't like Suicide Squad. It's literally the writers and not his portrayal of the Joker, but that's here nor there. They just decide to show an animation of the Joker, and the only time you do see Jared Leto in this movie is like slight shoulder and hair when they do a flashback, but other than that, you don't see him at all. I think that was a very big miss and a big slap in the face to Jared Leto. I think it would have been really good plot-wise and just in general if we got to see Jared Leto's character pushing Harley away and denying her and breaking up with her and breaking her heart and all that fun stuff. Showing us in an animation and her just talking about it, I just don't feel like it hits the same way it would have if they just showed Jared Leto's Joker. Like, give him a chance. Give Jared a chance, because he's a good actor, and DC just wants to push him out acting like he never existed, which is stupid to me. Renee Montagne. Now, if you remember as a kid watching the Batman animated series, she was a badass cop. In the comics and other adaptations, she's a super cool cop who later takes on the mantle of the Question, which is a different story. She is also young, like in her 30s. So explain to me why they hired a 55-year-old Rosie Perez. Not only is she older than Montagne, but she's a lot shorter. Perez is 5'1". Montoya is supposed to be 5'8". There are plenty of actresses that I would have picked for the role of Montoya. My first pick is Stephanie Beatrice, which you know her from Brooklyn Nine-Nine, and I think she would bring an awesome portrayal of her to this. My second choice is Michelle Rodriguez. Of course, she's a badass, and I think she just would bring it for this role. Heck, they could have went with Victoria Cartagena, who portrayed her in Gotham, but I know they're not going to take the TV counterparts and bring them to the live action because they hate everybody. Some other actresses, they don't want to go with those first two choices, could also be Fernando Romero or Emra Tabia, which I think she would play, an awesome version of Montoya. Remember what I said earlier, they need to cast for longevity, and casting an older actress, you're just throwing away this character. Secondly, in this movie, she's a washed up detective who literally gets taken as a joke throughout the whole movie. She gets beaten up by Harley Quinn multiple times and just gets manhandled by her at every chance she gets. She isn't a badass in this and literally fumbles every single time she tries to hold up Harley, gets into a fight. Her action scenes are just goofy looking, and she just seems like a joke in this movie and just a waste of a cool side character that they could have had. Next, let's talk about Black Canary, aka the Tolkienized character of this movie. Jordie Bell does good for what little character development and background they give her in this movie. She's a singer in Black Mask Club, and supposedly her mom used to work for the cops before getting killed, and I guess she also has the same power as her mother. But that's literally all we know about her and her backstory. I like Black Canary, and I was a fan of her when I first saw her in the JLA cartoon, and also from the Arrow TV show and the comics, and also any of the incarnations she's been in any of the cartoons DC has released. So, you know what all of those versions of Black Canary have in common? She's blonde and she's white. Like I said before, they tokenized her for no reason. There's no reason to change her race, and as a comic book fan, I don't like it. Don't mess with how a character looks. Simple as that. Don't change it because you need more diversity in your film. Don't do that. Just pick a character that is the same race you're looking for. It's not that hard. For example, you know who would have been perfect for Journey to play in this? Vixen. Not only is Vixen a character that's already been in live action, she was in the Arrow universe, but she's also in Suicide Squad in the comic books. She's also been in cartoons. This is a character that has been shown to be a cool character. So Journey could have fit her perfectly because the backstory makes perfect sense. I mean, hello, Suicide Squad. Harley just came from the movie Suicide Squad, so it matches up perfectly. Her look would be perfect for Vixen, and Vixen is just a really cool character anyways. It literally just makes more sense for Journey to play Vixen than it does Black Canary. Also, Black Canary is one of the best hand-to-hand combatants in the DC universe. So tell me why in this movie she looks like she maybe went to a kickboxing class for maybe a year. Like, I'm not saying her action scenes were really bad, but she doesn't look like somebody who can stand toe-to-toe with Green Arrow. Also, Black Canary is famous for her voice. In the movie, we get her singing in the beginning, and Journey does a really good job at singing. Don't get me wrong, she has a very nice voice. We get to see a glass shatter, showing that, you know, she does have that voice range or whatever, but we don't get to see her supersonic power until the very end of the movie. And you know how many times she uses it? Once. We get to see her use her power once in the whole movie. Are you kidding me? Black Canary? And you only let her use her power once? The director even said this.
I wanted to see these women like actually kick ass and not rely all the time on weapons or superpowers or whatnot. I really wanted to just see the physicality of these women.
It's a comic book movie. They're literally supposed to use their powers. That is the whole point of directing a comic book movie. Having superhero characters. That's like having a Flash movie and saying he can't run fast and use his super speed. Or a Superman movie and saying he can't use his super strength. Like, you just want to see him use his fighting ability, but no super strength. If you don't want your characters to use their superpowers, then you have no reason to direct a comic book movie. I'm sorry. Also, actresses that I would have casted for Black Canary off the top of my head are Emma Roberts and Diana Argon. I think they would have played a badass version of Black Canary. Now let's talk about little Cassandra Cain, aka the Imposter. This is not Cassandra Cain. She is only it by the name. Cassandra Cain in the movie is nothing but a street kid who is in foster care who's also a pickpocketer. That's it. That's her whole character. That's what I mean when I say these writers have no idea who these characters are. Cassandra Cain in the comics was trained by her father to be a deadly assassin. She's a master martial artist who trained her mind to be very good at reading body language. Does that sound anything like the movie character to you? No. She also takes the reins as Batgirl for a while in the comics, and then later goes by the alias Orphan. So after watching the movie, this can never happen. They ruined her character by making her some pickpocket. This has nothing to do with the actress, but the writer screwed over Ella from ever getting to be the awesome badass who Cassandra Cain could be. Last of the girls, let's talk about Huntress, aka Mary Elizabeth Winstead. Now, I love Mary and their casting of her as the Huntress. I totally agree with. But I don't like how they wrote her. She's very one note, and they kind of take her as a joke, which is kind of annoying. They keep calling her the crossbow killer, which is not very funny, and she keeps trying to tell people that her name is the Huntress. So again, taking her as a joke. She's also the only character in the movie that's dark and trying to be serious, so it's really off when the rest of the movie is kind of like light and fun, and she's the only character being like this dark character. Also, being a trained assassin, she doesn't seem to fight very well in this movie. Her action scenes are okay, but comparing it to the Huntress in the Arrow universe, who has amazing badass fight scenes, the Huntress in the Birds of Prey movie, her fight scenes are very mediocre, and she just seems like an okay assassin. Also, the outfit in this movie was horrible. It looked like the costume designer saw the costume in the comics, was like, meh, let's give her a basic combat outfit and give it a little bit of purple with some black eye makeup because why not? It's stupid. And then at the very end of the movie, they give her a sort of outfit that looks a lot more like the Huntress in the comic books. Not as much, but better than what we got throughout the whole movie, but we literally get it for like a couple seconds. So why don't we get that cool costume instead of the one we got throughout the whole movie? Also, the Huntress costume is cool and can be very dope looking in live action. Cosplayers have shown it to be looking really cool, and there's just no excuse not to go with her two versions of her costume, other than them just wanting to be original, which is stupid. Just go with what the character looks like in the comic. Not that hard. Hopefully, if they do use her in future movies in the DC universe, they give her better writers, because the Huntress is a cool character, and I really want to see Mary pull this character off because I know she can. Last but not least, let's talk about Zsasz and Black Mask. Zsasz is not crazy at all in this movie. He's literally just a right-hand man to Black Mask, or I should say Roman Sionis, because they literally rarely say his name, Black Mask, ever. Zsasz is supposed to be crazy and have a bunch of tally marks all over his body for all the kills he has, and in this movie, he literally looks like an H&M model. He has hair for some reason. He does have scars, but they're very random, and they're not tally marks. So it's not Zsasz. It just feels weird of a character. Now, let's talk about Black Mask. They just did his character so bad. Like, you have Ian McGregor playing Black Mask, and you do this to him? Like, really? You just shat all over the character Black Mask. Black Mask is supposed to be a badass mobster who is scary and a cool fucking character, but you just make him this flashy, over-the-top, no mask-wearing club owner who's kind of a mobster-ish. He only wears his mask twice in the movie. The first time when Harley announces his character and shows his title card, and the very end of the movie, for the last like 5 minutes, he wears the mask. If you're a fan of him from the comics or the video games, you're gonna come into this movie and be like, who is this character? Because this is not Black Mask. Spoiler alert, the writer had the audacity to kill Zsasz in the most lame way possible. Not only do they kill Zsasz, they kill Black Mask. Yes, you heard that right. They kill Black Mask. Like, it's not like, oh, he could be dead. He literally blows up. Like, a grenade is attached to him and he just blows up. What? Like, does this lady not know anything about Batman villains? You do not kill the villains. Like, I get it, it's not a Batman film, and it's a Harley Quinn film, technically, but it doesn't matter. You don't kill Batman villains. Now this takes away from us ever seeing Zsasz and Black Mask in any future Batman movies, because she decided to kill them for no reason in a mediocre film. Good job, Christina Hodson. Now you can see there's a lot I didn't like about this film, and I know this is not really a movie review, but if I do have to give it a rating, I would say 6.5 out of 10. If it wasn't for the action, this movie would get probably a 5.5 out of 10. It's just, there's so much wrong that they did to the characters that it's just hard to like the movie as a comic book fan and just a fan of the universe in general. Anyway, if you guys like this rant, give it a thumbs up. If you guys want to see more, hit the subscribe button, and thanks for watching.